Okay guys, today I'm going to show you some more tools on Photoshop to make your image even better. So I'm going to show you some tools on under Image Adjustments. We're going to talk about Shadows and Highlights, which is here. We're going to talk about Curves, which is here. And then over on the toolbar we're going to do Dodging and Burning tools. If you hover over this, it shows you the burn. If you right click, you can go to Dodge and Burn. And those are the two we're going to care about right there. This is how you selectively darken or lighten specific areas on your image. So first thing I want to do here is do what? Crop, as always, right? So we're going to go up to the cropping tool, come in, and let's crop it to about where we want it. Okay, we're going to apply that. The next thing we've always talked about is we want to go in our layers palette under our adjustments, and we want to go to levels because we want to make sure that we don't have anything major we have to change in that. So wherever the heck that went, where'd it go? There's my adjustments. So remember, we're going to use the slider to come over to get rid of the pixels we don't need. It's going to automatically darken that image when I do that and make it a whole lot better. So there's already that. And the next thing we've talked about doing always is brightness and contrast, so we'll put that in, and we have the sliders again for that. So it's a little bit bright, so I'm going to take that down a little, maybe bring up the contrast just a hair. Remember, a little bit of adjustments make a huge difference, so we'll leave that. Now, the other adjustment that would be really good for this is the shadows and highlights ones, but that's not, you notice here it's not under this menu. You have to go up to Image Adjustments, and it'll be under that menu, and it's about 2/3 of the way down. Click on that. Now the thing about this is if you overdo it, it's really obvious and doesn't look very good. So here's the two things we care about, are the highlights and the shadows. So the shadow area defaults to 35%, which means it's going to lighten up those shadow areas. So if you take that off, you can see where it lightened it up, okay, or not. Never mind on that, we weren't on the background layer, so that's why I didn't do that. So let's go back, adjustments, and go to shadows and highlights. So it defaulted to 35% again. We're going to take that off, and you can pull it back on, and you can use that slider anywhere. This one doesn't have a lot of shadows, so we don't have to worry too much about that. Maybe I'll lighten up just a tad for the shadow on his back leg. The main thing we care about is the highlights here because they are burnt out. So we're going to take the highlight slider and we're going to move that to the right just slightly to darken it. I almost never want to see you go above 20% on that because it totally makes it look fake and blown out. So here we're at 11%. You can click the preview button on and off and see exactly what that looks like. So that's kind of cool. So we made it a little bit better. We took some of the blown out highlight detail and added some highlights in there. So we can say OK on that. And so now we've done that. The other thing we care about is the Dodging and Burning tool. This is where you selectively lighten or darken specific areas of your image. Now, so if we select, I'm selecting the Dodging tool. That lightens areas. The Burning tool darkens areas. Lightens, darkens. So we're going to take the Dodging tool, and let's say I want to just dodge his back leg, or maybe even on his face a little, make it lighter. The default usually is at 50%. I am at 16 because that's where I usually keep it, but the default will be 50, but you want to take the slider down and fix that. So then let's make the image bigger, Control plus. Use the space bar to move your image over to just get that one area we want to lighten up. And make sure the way that you make your brush bigger or smaller is using the bracket keys. Left bracket makes it smaller, right bracket makes it bigger. So I'm going to make it smaller than the area I want, and then I'm going to use it like a brush and pass over it to lighten that up a bit. Okay, so I'm going to come over and I'm going to lighten that up a bit. Do it, pass over it a few times, Control minus to see where it was, so I got some detail in there. Maybe I want to dodge inside here a little, get some more detail in there. Maybe I want to dodge his eye, so let's get his eye bigger, and maybe I want to get some more detail in his eye, so I'm going to lighten that up. You can see that makes that highlight much brighter on his eye, which is kind of neat because it makes it stand out a little bit more. And now I'm going to switch to the Burning tool, and I want to burn in that foreground a little bit more even because I want to bring attention to him. So I'm going to take this, I'm at 30%, let's bring it down. I usually try to stay around 20% to start with. And then I can come along and I can just burn on that. I'm just darkening, and like with a brush, remember the right and left bracket keys will make your brush bigger or smaller. And I'm darkening that front area a bit, a little bit more even than what we had before. And maybe I'm going to put a little bit of darkening around the outside so he kind of stands out. Okay, so that's our after. Here was what we started with, and here's what we end with. So it's a much better picture, and then we would save it as a TIFF.